Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Princess Georgette Diaz. I am the fifth reporter of the third group, Foundations of Education. Before I will start my report today, I would like to ask you, what are the children doing? Alright, so as you can see on the picture, the children are doing something in the woods or with the nature. They're trying to observe something, right? Okay, so can I ask what philosophy of education that relates to nature? Okay, so that's naturalism. Follow-up question. Why learning from nature is important in the 21st century? Okay, so there are several reasons why learning from nature is important in the 21st century. One, it can be education. So nature-based education encourages critical thinking, problem solving, and a hands-on approach to learning, which are essential skills in this increasingly complex world. The reason can be the health and well-being. So nature has a profound impact on mental and physical health. Integrating natural elements into, for example, urban environments can reduce stress and improve overall well-being. Another one is by studying nature or by learning from nature, we can have adaptation and resilience. So when we observe how a species adapt to changing conditions, can inform strategies for resilience in human communities facing climate change and other global challenges. Cultural connection. So learning from nature fosters a deeper connection to the environment, promoting stewardship and awareness of ecological issues. It's biodiversity. So understanding ecosystems helps us recognize the importance of biodiversity and the role it plays in maintaining healthy environments, which is crucial, especially for tackling climate change and other environmental challenges. Lastly, sustainability. Nature has evolved complex systems that maintain balance and resilience. So by studying these systems, we can develop sustainable practices in agriculture, energy, and urban planning. Okay, so when we combine nature and while learning from nature is important in the 21st century, what do you think is our topic for today? All right, so we're going to study naturalism in the 21st century. So, when we say naturalism, it is a philosophical belief that everything arises from natural causes and laws without supernatural or spiritual explanations. It suggests that the world and everything in it can be understood through science and observation of nature. So here are the objectives for today's lesson. 1. Analyze the role of naturalism in the 21st century education context. 2. Build a sense of moral responsibility towards the environment on a global scale, empowering students to take action for common good. And C. Apply the principles of naturalism to current educational trends. So let us walk through the timeline where naturalism as a philosophy in education started in the Philippines and in education. The pre-colonial education up to the 20th century has already been discussed by my partner, Ma'am SP. So I am here the from 2000 up to present. So that's the K to 12 reform and naturalism in the 21st century. So the K to 12 program implemented in 2013 reflects some key naturalistic ideas. So when we say naturalistic ideas, it is referred to the belief that everything can be explained by natural causes and processes without relying on supernatural or spiritual explanations. That's what I've said earlier. In naturalistic view, things like human behavior, the universe, life are understood through science, observation, and the laws of nature. It focuses on facts and evidence from the natural world, rather than ideas based on faith or belief in the supernatural, particularly in its emphasis on holistic and experiential learning. So when we say holistic, so when we say holistic, it means is a way of studying that focuses on understanding the bigger or the big picture and how different ideas are connected rather than just memorizing facts. So instead of learning in isolated chunks, you try to see how concepts relate to each other. This makes it easier to recall information and apply in different situations. Yeah. For example, in psychology, so instead of just memorizing definitions or the meaning of the words, you try to understand how, for example, how psychological theories connect, how they relate to real life situations, and how they apply to the things you have already learned. So, this holistic approach helps you retain knowledge better because you are building a web of interconnected ideas. For experiential learning, it's a way of learning by doing. So, when we do. So, instead of just reading or listening to theories, you can actively engage in experiences, reflect on them, and learn from what you did. So it's a hands-on and practical, helping you to understand concepts more deeply because you are directly involved in applying them. And again, go back to psychology. So rather than just reading about a certain theory, you might want to conduct an experiment. So when you conduct an experiment, you observe the results and you learn through that experience. So this experiential learning makes learning more memorable and meaningful. The added 2 years of senior high, offering tracks in academics, vocational skills, sports, and the arts, aligning with the naturalistic philosophy of catering to learners' natural inclination and talents. So before, our curriculum only offered 10 years. Right now, it's 12 years. So this reform also interacts with naturalism in various ways, especially in its approach to curriculum, pedagogy, and the reflection of social realities. So in senior high school, they do offer in academic tracks STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. They also have HUMS, humanities and social sciences, and ABM, accountancy, business, and management for those who wish to pursue courses related to accountancy or in business. For vocational skills, they offer information and communication technology or ICT. They also have industrial arts and home economics. So for the arts and sports, they focused on creative and physical skills, preparing students for career in arts, design, music, or sports. So if you have the talent in singing or dancing, or you have talents in sports, then you can enroll in sports and the arts. So these offerings in senior high school help students. So it helps the students align their education with their future goals. So if they want to be an engineer, so they will apply or study STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So it aligns with their education and their future goals. So whether that's further study or entering the workforce. The integration of technical, vocational, livelihood, TVL tracks is a clear nod to naturalism, promoting hands-on and practical education. The MTB-MLE follows as well a naturalist belief that education should begin with a learner's immediate environment and native language. MTB stands for Mother Tongue-Based Multilingual Education. So this is an approach to teaching that uses the learner's first language or the mother tongue as the medium of instruction in the early years of schooling, with gradual integration of additional languages, usually the national or the international language. So from kindergarten to grade 3, the teacher will be using the mother tongue as the medium of instruction. Then, when they go to grade 4, the medium of instruction will gradually change into Filipino or in English. So what are the benefits of using the MTB MLE? So improved learning outcomes. So that's one of the benefits. Children learn more effectively when they start in a language they are familiar with or they already understand. So when they understand, this leads to a better performance in literacy, numeracy, and critical thinking skills. So in using mother tongue, the students will have more participation in the class because they can understand the lesson because they're using their native language. For example, since we are in Southern Leyte, So we use our mother tongue, which is Bisaya. The second benefit would be increased confidence and participation. So since they understood the language, so it increases class participation. So children are more likely to engage in classroom activities, mga activities and classroom discussions because they can express naturally in our or in their native language. So next benefit is inclusion and equity. So this approach ensures that children from diverse linguistic backgrounds, so bisan asa ka pa nga nagikan, you are not in disadvantage because MTB-MLE promotes equity in education. So, bisan asa ka pa sa Pilipinas, whatever your language is, whatever your native language is, from K to 3, your teacher or the teacher will be using your native language as the medium of instruction. So, what are the challenges of MTB-MLE? Number one is the teacher training. So effective implementation requires teacher. So it requires teacher who are fluent in the mother tongue or the native language, and also trained in multilingual teaching strategies, which can be a challenge in areas with limited resources because even if mga Bisaya ta or Bisaya ta nga teacher, dili ta 100% jud nga kabalo sa mga Bisaya terms. So, mo na isa sa mga challenge. 100% I think familiarization with your native language. Environmental education has even grown stronger in the 21st century. Schools increasingly incorporate lessons on sustainability, climate change, and ecological balance. The integration of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics also supports naturalistic learning by encouraging hands-on experiment, inquiry, and real-world problem solving. So, why is it that schools incorporate lessons about environmental education? So, as we noticed, tikadaghan na gyud ng atong mga problema related to the environment. And these challenges with the environment threaten our country's biodiversity, natural resources, and our well-being, the well-being of its population. So, unsa maning mga challenges that we encountered with our environment? We have deforestation, di ba? So, the Philippines has experienced extensive deforestation due to mga illegal logging, no permits in cutting trees, agricultural expansion, and also urban development. So, this has led to the loss of the biodiversity. So, na-disrupt ang atong ecosystem and increased vulnerability to natural disasters like landslides and floods. So, kay namutol naman tagkahoy, then we don't plant replacements. Maunay na ay mga natural disasters like landslides and floods. So, ikaduhang challenge is the climate change and the rising sea levels. So, the Philippines is highly vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, so such as the rising sea levels, which threatens the coastal communities. So, they're more vulnerable kay dool sila sa dagat. The country also experiences more frequent and intense typhoons, droughts, and unpredictable weather patterns due to global warming. Yeah, so if we noticed, sa una, mingon tag kanang ting-uwan. But then again, taas ang heat index. So those are mga unpredictable, dili na to masabot ang weather pattern due to global warming. So we also have water pollution. So these water pollution from industrial waste, poor waste management have led to severe water pollution in rivers, lakes, and coastal waters. So, especially sa mga rivers, sa mga syudad. Mm. Again, without proper disposal. So, ang ilang waste maadto sa dagat or rivers, thus maguba ang maguba ang ecosystem underwater. So these water pollution threatens marine life and our public health. Mga daot tagatong marine life unja kita pod atong health as consumer mga mukaon ta og mga foods or mga seafoods. Waste management and plastic pollution. So the Philippines struggles with inadequate waste management systems, leading to improper disposal of solid waste, particularly plastic. So the Philippines as well is one of the largest contributors to ocean plastic pollution, which harms the marine ecosystems and wildfire. So, being called as one of the largest contributors to ocean plastic pollution, lain jud sidya kay, it also means that we have no self-discipline. Bisan sa paglabog, when we throw our plastics, we don't mind og asa mo paingon ang atong plastics ang gilabog. And it's sad because it's sad because Philippines or our country, the Philippines, is rich in marine resources, or our marine life in the Philippines is rich. Air pollution, diba? Overfishing and marine degradation, soil erosion and land degradation, and natural disasters. So these natural disasters or mga environmental challenges that we encounter are usually kita ra po'y buhat, and Mother Nature ning sumbalik ra nato, gibawsan na pud ta sa atong the way we treat our environment. That's why these environmental lessons are being incorporated at school for us to be aware about our environment. Nanonoon sa nagato environment, and how can we protect our environment as we are the stewards of our environment. So question, so how are we able to address these environmental challenges? So we have, if we want to address these challenges, number one, we can have stronger environmental policies. So natin mga polisiya about our environment, about how are we going to protect our environment. We can also have sustainable land use and agricultural practices to prevent further deforestation and land degradation. We can also do that. Next is improved waste management systems. So include better recycling and plastic reduction efforts. So I think it was in Singapore or somewhere in Southeast Asia that they have a very good system, a very good waste management system where they produce zero waste. So I hope the government can be able to address this, concern about our waste. So I hope nga we can adapt to their way of waste management. We can also have conservation programs such as reforestation and marine conservation initiatives. So this can be done in, for example, mga YesO Club or SELG. So they can have tree planting or anything that can be helpful towards our environment. The rise of technology in education allowed the new forms of experiential learning. Digital tools, online platforms, and simulations enable students to engage in interactive activities, self-paced learning, which are closely mirroring naturalistic education's emphasis on self-guided exploration and experience. So the rise of technology in education has enabled new forms of experiential learning. So example number one, virtual reality or the VR and augmented reality AR. So VR and AR technologies allow students to explore environments and situations that might be impossible or impractical, not practical, to experience in real life. Because maybe that place is too far and it's too expensive. So with VR and AR, they can be able to experience in real life. For example, if students can virtually, so not personally but virtually, visit historical sites, mm, so they can use the VR and AR. So it's as if they are in that place, but in reality, they're not. They're just virtually present. Or simulate scientific experiments or explore ecosystems. So providing rich and immersive learning experiences. It's as if they are really in that particular place at that particular time. Mura ra, pero dili di ay. Uh, Online collaboration tools. So, tools like video conferencing, uh, just like in Google Meet, shared online workspaces, and project management platforms facilitate collaboration between students across different locations. So, di lang nila kailangan mag-meet to collaborate, but they can do it online by using online collaboration tool. So, bisag lagyo, they can work together on projects. They can still engage in peer-to-peer learning through online and interact with mentors or experts from around the world. So, di na nimo kailangan to go to places to look for an expert or for you to have a mentor. But you can do this through online platforms. Uh, Even game-based learning, so educational games and gamification engage students in active learning by making the process fun and competitive. So students can complete challenges, they can solve puzzles online, and achieve goals within a game. It that simulates real life problem-solving scenarios. So this approach boosts motivation and retention because they engage themselves, di ba? So when you engage yourself, it can give you retention by making learning more engaging and rewarding, and it often encourages critical thinking and decision making. Mm. So dili lang kay live nga moduwa ang bata, but there's also an online game and they can learn as well. And also, we can access global resources. So the internet provides access to vast array of information or resources such as online course or courses, virtual museums, research databases, and educational videos. So students can explore global knowledge, participate in international projects, and experience diverse perspectives through webinars, virtual workshops, and other digital platforms. Mm. So this broadens the scope of experiential learning. So it allows students to connect with global experts, peers, and resources. So those are among the advantages of the rise of technology in education as a new form of experiential learning. So the rise of technology has enhanced experiential learning by making it more interactive, accessible, and personalized. So students can now engage with learnings in ways that were previously impossible. Because bitaw. So previously it was impossible because if you want resources, if you want something, if you want information, di ba mo ato sa library. But with the advent of technology, so mauna ni the the learning or the experiential learning has enhanced more. So students can now engage with learnings in ways that were previously impossible, allowing for deeper understanding, skill development, and real-world application. Okay, so let's go to contemporary trends, blended learning, and education for sustainable development. So blended learning, a mix of online and face-to-face instruction, has become a dominant trend. So this blended learning, especially after the COVID-19, yes, has become a dominant trend for us to avoid, di ba, getting sick. So that's why there is a mix of online and a face-to-face instruction. And it's still applicable until now, di ba, sa atong masteral. So there are times that we go and have a face-to-face lesson, and then we also have our online lesson. So this allows for a flexible and personalized learning experience, aligning with naturalistic principles that advocate for education tailored to individual needs and the natural process. So why is it that blended learning aligns with naturalistic principles? So nga naman. So for blended learning, since it combines traditional classroom instruction with online or digital components, allowing students to engage with real world problems and scenarios. This mirrors naturalistic learning, where knowledge is acquired through direct interaction with the environment and practical experience. For example, students may engage in hands-on activities in person, so during face-to-face. So students can have a hands-on activity, and then they will use the digital tools or the online tools to research or analyze their experiences, integrating learning with the natural flow of problem solving. So here in blended learning as well, it supports a learner-centered approach where students can take an active role in directing their learning path. So it's learner-centered. Naturalistic principles emphasize learning as self-directed, explorative process where individuals learn through their own experiences and interests. So that makes blended learning a part of naturalism or as a naturalistic approach to learning. It's also active and experiential learning. So blended learning encourages active participation and experiential learning, both of which are essential to naturalistic principles. So when we integrate in-person activities with digital experience, students are encouraged to engage in hands-on tasks. Simulations, and collaborative projects that reflect real-world context. So, for example, in a science class, it may involve physical lab work or laboratory work combined with online simulations. So, thus, reinforcing learning through active experimentation and reflection. So, core aspects of naturalistic learning. So, in blended learning, it can also have reflection and critical thinking. So, naturalistic learning emphasizes reflection as part of the learning process. So, where learners make sense of their experiences and build understanding over time. So from their experience. So blended learning supports by providing opportunities for both synchronous or live and asynchronous independent learning, giving students time to reflect, revisit materials, and critically analyze what they have learned. So for asynchronous learning, so that's learner-centered. Example, students can engage in discussions in class, then use online platforms to reflect, ask questions, and deepen their understanding. So these mirrors how learning naturally unfolds through their experience and contemplation. So in summary, blended learning reflects naturalistic principles by promoting real-world learning experiences, personalized exploration, active engagement, and then social interaction. It allows students to learn in ways that align with their natural tendencies and curiosity, with their curiosity to learn, making education more meaningful and effective. The global emphasis on education for sustainable development has permeated Philippine education, stressing the importance of teaching students to be responsible stewards of the environment. So when we say stewards, like a caretaker or protector of our environment. Naturalism's focus on learning and respecting nature finds a clear uh, place in this trend in education shifts towards fostering a deep understanding and connection to the environment. So, with these alarming environmental issues, dili lang kay sa Philippines lang ni siya alarming, but with the global community. That's why ESD is permitted in our Philippine education so that it will give us the awareness uh, and the awareness to protect our environment as we are a responsible stewards of our environment. So the goal of ESD, Education for Sustainable Development, is that it help it helps learners understand the impact of their actions on this planet. Mm. So and society as well, and inspire them to make choices that contribute to a sustainable future. So what we are doing right now, ang mo benefit ana is the future generation. So we are given the task to be the stewards of our environment so that we can give a sustainable future for the future generation. So ESD emphasizes the importance of understanding the interconnectedness, so the relationship between environment, the social, the economic issues, and promotes critical thinking, the problem solving, and decision making to foster a more sustainable world. So as I said earlier, when we say stewards of the environment, it refers to individuals, groups, or organizations that take responsibility, again, for protecting, conserving, and managing natural resources and ecosystems. So environmental stewards are committed to ensuring that their action has have a positive impact on the environment, both for the present and for future generation. So this concept emphasizes ethical and sustainable use of resources as well as an active role in reducing environmental degradation. So as a steward, your actions uh, as a steward, uh, do your actions can be, so it can help reducing pollution and waste. So those are one of the things that makes you a responsible steward of our environment. Number two, conserving water, energy, and biodiversity. Three, so we can be an advocate for the policies that protects our ecosystems and combat climate change. So in here, the idea of environmental stewardship aligns with the belief that humans have a moral duty to take care of the earth and its resources in a way that benefit all living beings and maintains the planet's ecological balance. So, bitaw, tinuod. So, we as monolopyo or nagpuyo ning kalibutan, we have the moral obligation to protect and conserve or be a responsible stewards of our environment. Not just now nga kita rin maka-benefit, but our actions in the present can make a positive impact to our future generation. So again, we have the moral obligation as people who's living here on earth. We can do so much more, di ba? Just by simply segregating the waste, by throwing properly the waste, di kay bisan naa sa ilabo. Those simple things can give big impact towards our environment. So we can be a part of that change. We can be a part of that stewardship, the stewards, responsible stewards of our environment. For abstraction, the evolution of Philippine education from naturalism to the first century 21st century rather highlights from enduring influence of naturalist principles such as experiential learning, learner-centered approaches, and the importance of environment in education. As contemporary trends like blended learning and education for sustainable development take center stage, these educational practices continue to draw from the past while responding to the present and the future needs of Filipino and society. Both trends, how the Philippine education system is adapting to global changes, will stay rooted in foundational philosophies that prioritize the holistic development of the learner and the world they inhabit. For application, in a half sheet of yellow paper, in your own words, why environmental education is being integrated into the lessons in schools. And for the evaluation, again, in another half sheet of paper, kindly explain the following. Number one, what are the benefits and the challenges of incorporating naturalistic methods into modern classrooms? Number two, how do trends like environmental education, nature-based learning, and digital learning relate to naturalism? And the last one is, how has the 21st century educational context shifted towards or away from naturalism? For the assignment, reflect on a personal experience where environmental education made you aware of your impact on the environment. How has this experience influenced your daily habits?